All right, so welcome to another deep dive. You know how this works, right?
Yeah.
You give us the sources, we give you the insights, the need-to-know stuff, all neatly packaged and ready to go.
Precisely. We cut through the clutter, zero in on what truly matters, and equip you, the learner, with the knowledge you need.
So this time around, we're stepping into a world that's, well, a little strange, a little unnerving.
It certainly is. We've got excerpts from Franz Kafka's The Trial.
Kafka. Always a wild ride. And we're working with David Wiley's 1925 translation.
That's right. A classic choice for experiencing Kafka's work. And the excerpts you've provided, they definitely fall into the realm of fiction, fantasy, even edging into a bit of horror as we go deeper.
Yeah, I can see why. And of course, to truly grasp the trial and its bizarre world, it helps to know a bit about the man behind the words.
Absolutely. We have a bit from Wikipedia about Franz Kafka. So let's see. He was a major figure in 20th century literature, wrote in German, even though he lived in Prague.
Right, a Jewish writer in Prague. Quite a unique perspective.
Mhm.
And something that always strikes me about Kafka is that so much of his work, including the trial, was actually published after his death.
That's true, and often left unfinished, too. I guess it gives a sense of this unfinished quality to his work, which kind of mirrors the feeling you get reading it, Like things are never quite resolved.
Exactly. And speaking of unresolved, it's the unresolved and the just plain weird that make Kafkaesque.
Yes. That word, Kafkaesque, it comes straight from his writing, from this unique way he blends the absurd, the surreal with the everyday. Like, picture this, waking up as a giant insect.
Oh, you're talking the metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll mess with your morning routine.
Exactly. And then life just goes on with family and work, all while you're this thing. It's that blend of the bizarre and the mundane that defines Kafkaesque.
You see it in other works, too.
Yeah.
The Judgment in the Penal Colony and his unfinished novels, The Castle being another one, alongside The Trial, they all have that distinct Kafka flavor.
Exactly. It's like a signature.
Okay, so let's get into The Trial. Right from the start, Kafka throws us headfirst into this really strange situation. Josef K, our main character, is just waking up in his own bedroom. Pretty normal start.
Right. Seems like a regular day.
Until two guys, Franz and Willem, waltz in and tell him he's under arrest.
And here's the kicker. They won't tell him why.
Like, not even a hint.
Nope. Imagine that. You're in your own space, your home, supposed to be safe and familiar, and suddenly your world is turned upside down.
Talk about a rude awakening. And it's not just that they arrest him, it's how they go about it. These guys are eating breakfast in his room.
So casual, like it's just another Tuesday.
And then they take his clothes.
Taking away his clothes, his sense of self, it's unsettling.
Totally. Kay, naturally, he wants answers. He wants to know what law he's broken, what's going on. But they just mention some law he's never heard of, keep him completely in the dark.
It's classic Kafka, the power of the unseen, unnamed authority.
It's like being controlled by a system you can't even see, let alone understand.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's not just happening in a vacuum. We see these little glimpses of the world outside Kay's immediate situation, and it's all just as strange.
Like Mrs. Grubach, his landlady. She's clearly embarrassed by the whole scene, right?
Yes, but she doesn't intervene. And then there are these people watching from across the street.
Yeah, I remember that detail. It's almost like everyone's aware of what's happening, but no one really understands it.
They're spectators to Kay's unfolding drama, this very public unraveling of his life, as to the whole surreal atmosphere.
Definitely. So eventually, Kay gets to meet someone called the supervisor. You'd think, okay, finally some answers, right?
You'd think so. But even the setting is odd. They meet in Miss Berstner's room, another tenant in the house. It's like this makeshift courtroom, which feels so out of place.
And the supervisor, well, he doesn't exactly clear things up. He confirms the arrest, but then he says he doesn't actually know what the charges are.
Imagine that. The person overseeing this whole thing has no clue about the specifics. It's baffling.
And his advice to Kay is just weird. He says to focus on himself, not the legal process. Like, how can you ignore something like this?
It's almost as if he's saying the process itself is more important than the individual going through it. A very Kafkaesque concept.
It's maddening. And then it gets even weirder. Kay has these junior bank staff, his colleagues, acting as escorts, like Rabensteiner, Coolidge, Kaminer, these guys from work.
And he's supposed to go to work as if nothing's happened.
It's like this clash of the extraordinary and the mundane.
This is another hallmark of Kafka, this continuation of everyday life in the face of the absurd. It's like the world just keeps spinning no matter what's going on with you.
Right, which makes it even more isolating.
Precisely. Now, before all this went down, Kay had a pretty normal life. You know, he worked at the bank, had a decent relationship with his manager, saw Elsa regularly.
Yeah, typical guy, going about his business.
Exactly. And that's what makes the arrest even more jarring. It's so out of the blue, so seemingly random.
It underscores the absurdity of it all. He wasn't some shady character or anything, just an average guy living his life.
It forces you to ask, why him? What's so special about Kay that makes him the target?
Right. And naturally, Kay tries to figure out what's going on. He talks to Mrs. Grubach, he talks to Miss Berstner.
Hoping to get some kind of explanation or even just some sympathy.
But even they can't really offer any insight. Mrs. Grubach, she's kind of caught in the middle.
She acknowledges the strangeness, but seems afraid to get involved.
Probably doesn't want to get on the wrong side of whatever's going on.
And Miss Berstner, she has a more curious reaction.
Yeah, she's actually kind of interested in the legal side of it all. She even mentions she's learning about law, working in a legal office soon.
It's like she's drawn to the very system that's causing Kay so much trouble.
Maybe it's the mystery of it, the power dynamics.
It speaks to this fascination with the law, even when it's incomprehensible and seemingly unjust.
So we end this initial dive with a whole lot of questions and a sense of unease. A guy arrested for no apparent reason, officials who are more confusing than helpful, and this whole bizarre system that Kay is trapped in.
What Kafka does so brilliantly is create this immediate feeling of powerlessness. You're right there with Kay, feeling the confusion, the frustration.
It makes you think, how would you react in that situation? Imagine being accused without knowing the crime.
It taps into this primal fear, a fear of the unknown, the arbitrary nature of power.
And that fear, it's not just limited to some fictional legal system. There are so many systems in our own lives, complex and often opaque, that we have to navigate.
Think about the institutions we interact with every day, the sources of authority and information. How much do we truly understand about how they operate?
It's a question worth considering. And that's really the power of a deep dive like this. We get a glimpse into these complex ideas, these universal anxieties. We've just scratched the surface of the trial, but hopefully we've given you a taste of what makes it such compelling and thought-provoking work.
There are layers upon layers of meaning in Kafka's writing, waiting to be explored.
And we encourage you to keep exploring, to keep questioning. That's what this is all about. Thanks for diving in with us.